Hey, there's another culture war going on about the footballer of the year and the performance of
Yes, of course. Sorry.
David Clifford. He was smoked, according to Paul Flynn, who rode back a little bit from that, but then didn't really row back to the point of like taking down the smoked thing. So the smoked thing still exists.
I'm going to get the exact wording just so we're not doing Paul a disservice.
So footballer of the year, it turns out, has been like this Rorschach test for a lot of people. It's like, oh, it has to be Clifford. Who are you? If you don't think Clifford is. And then top scorer in the whole championship was Shane McGuigan.
He was. Yeah, Shane McGuigan, who had to come through an Ulster Championship.
He had a lot of gimmies, didn't he? He played a lot of Division 3 and Division... Oh, no, wait, he did not play Division 3 and Division 4 teams.
No. And
I need to look back at there. He's full fixture list here before something. Well, actually, I'll find it.
Well, they played certainly Monaghan in an Ulster semi-final, Armagh in an Ulster final, Fermanagh before that in a quarter-final. Then they had a group with Monaghan, Donegal and Clare, and then they beat Cork in the quarter-finals before losing to Kerry in the semis. That's not a gimme at all. Like, you wouldn't say there's a handy game in there. But yeah, Paul Flynn's comments on David Clifford. So he tweets August 1st, so the other night, 12:37 a.m. Clifford was smoked against Dublin and poor against Tyrone, yet still people think he is footballer of the year. Not for me. James Mack led Dublin to glory without having his best day yesterday. He's a born winner and leader. And then he, of course, replies and retweets his own tweet 17 hours ago. It says, bit of controversy regarding my last tweet. Do I think Mick Fitz got the better of Clifford? Yes. Do I think Clifford was player of the year? No. Do I think he's one of the best in our generation? Yes. And top ambassador for the game. No more midnight tweets. And then the same zip emoji that Katie McCabe made use of. So, I mean,
define smoking. What's smoking in that sense? Because I do remember an occasion where David Clifford left Mick Fitz on his arse at one point.
He did not smoke David Clifford.
No.
There's no way he smoked him, because Clifford still got 2 points from play. That the unbelievable pass for the Guinea goal. Like,
and Fitzsimons gave away a free when he took the jersey.
Yeah.
A third score, and then there's the 1-1. Like, Clifford played well below what his expectations are and what our expectations of him are. And how much credit do you give to Fitzsimons for that? I would give a fair bit of credit to Fitzsimons for that. But it was more they both certainly Fitzsimons emerges with credit.
Now, for sure. Yeah.
Interesting that again, to the point about the culture war, Dara O'Shea in his piece today, he picked Fitzsimons in his team of the year. He's picked him at full back, and what the Lord giveth with one hand, he taketh away with the other. Did well throughout the season, even though he got a fair bit of help with David Clifford on Sunday. It's like,
wow,
I'm putting you in my team of the year, but I sure shit I'm not giving you all the credit for that, because I saw that tweet too.
Yeah,
and we're going to defend our boy.
Yeah, understandably. But well, if Clifford earned many shooting opportunities for himself on Fitzsimons, he just didn't take them.
Well, or were they bad? Should he not have taken them?
He should have taken them. Yeah, there was a few of them that he definitely should have put over based on his standards.
Or should he not have been shooting from there? Was it because Fitzsimons was in his head? And look, Fitzsimons, in fairness, got a free turned over that would have been a handy free that the Dubs score a point from, and like sliding doors moments.
Yeah. And a couple of the shots at the end that were wayward from Clifford were probably him panicking and going, I have to do something crazy here.
Well, I mean, the other thing is, right, there was a bit where he was he's on the 21 or maybe slightly outside it, and this was kind of right in front of us, and he starts to dribble around, slaloming through people and take the shot. And if that shot had got in, you're looking at, oh, look what he did.
Yeah, one of the great scores.
Yeah, it felt very Katie McCabe against Canada, actually.
So not smoked, I don't think.
No.
I don't think by any proper measure. If he'd been held scoreless for play,
I expected Paul Flynn in his
no creativity, you know.
His backup tweet, I expected him to reference the smoked term. I expected him to maybe roll back on that a little bit, because I don't think anyone thinks he was smoked. Fitzsimons had a good game on him.
But isn't it interesting that, like, maybe this is what the Dubs actually think in their private moments? Like Fitzsimons. So the bit about the GOAT. That got on the GOAT of a lot of people who were not from Kerry. That, like, one of the first things that somebody who was wearing a Dublin jersey said to me after was like, well, where's Clifford's GOAT status now?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He's 24, it's too early. And I guilty as charged, Your Honour. We did anoint him the greatest footballer of all time. Well, I don't know. But he's
certainly of this generation. He's
yeah, but that's not what GOAT stands for.
No. Like, I have the utmost respect for this Dublin team and the lads who have the 9 All-Irelands and the 8 All-Irelands, but I think there is a notion in Dublin that there can't be a goat that's not from Dublin. Like David Clifford, I think there's a little modicum of jealousy in Dublin surrounding David Clifford and the aura around him, because we have him on a pedestal. There feels to be that little bit, because I think they think, right, we are the greatest team of this generation, and Dublin are the best team of this generation.
Yeah,
but they don't have the best player. They do not have the best single player of this generation. I don't think that can be argued.
I think like there is a case for James McCarthy being one of the greatest footballers of all time,
sure. And he's Dublin's greatest.
And you can make that case. He didn't have his best game on Sunday, and I think that will, like All Ireland finals count double, so I think that may well make him less likely to be Footballer of the Year. But I don't know if you can give it to Clifford after that performance either on Sunday.
I think you can. Again, it's not the player of the fortnight. It's like,
but is it not that it's so pivotal to their success whether he plays well or not?
Yeah.
That as long as he above breaks even,
he's a victim of his own success.
Win, right?
He set his own bar so high that we expect unbelievable things from him. Like if any other player scores 4 points, 2 from play, and kicks that unbelievable pass for Gainey's goal, you're like, right, that's a 7 out of 10 performance. For Clifford, it's a 5 out of 10 performance. Like,
yeah, but that is they're the rules of engagement when you're talking about the greatest of all time. Do you know?
Yeah, I suppose when you know what they can do.
So is Fenton Player of the Year? Like, really? He could be, because Fenton was amazing in the semis when the going got tough, and then as the game is in the melting pot, he's like, this is not for a Sunday stroll. Boom, thanks very much. Oh, was that like an all-time great point? Yeah, it was. Is Fenton their greatest ever footballer? I don't know. See, the thing about Clifford is it's very difficult for him to like dominate a game when you're up front and the team is not performing well. Whereas from midfield, you can influence, like as a deep-lying midfielder, James McCarthy can influence games and therefore seasons in a way that it's harder for players in the full forward line to do, because he is totally reliant on the quality of the ball going into him, and the quality of the ball going into him, by the way, was nowhere near as good as it has been, and that's to Dublin's credit. And I think that's the help that Darragh O'Shea is talking about that Mick Fitzsimons got. There was a few balls that were out in front of Clifford where he was able to get out, get a step, and the first point he scored was like delicious.
The favourites,
they stopped putting those balls in.
They did. The bookies have at the moment, so the top 6 for Footballer of the Year: Shane McGuigan 33-1. You've Colin Bosquel 14-1. Stephen Cluxton 12-1, along with Brian Fenton at 12-1. David Clifford 6-4. James McCarthy 8-15.
So this is a player's vote, right? There has to be a shortlist announced sooner rather than later, at which point a load of those come off the board. Yeah, and then the betting will calcify around, and maybe there'll be a backlash against the Dubs from the rest of the country because of stuff like, he was smoked.
Is Cluxton not the Footballer of the Year?
Cluxton could well be the Footballer of the Year. Like, there might be a very good case for Cluxton. Like,
won the All-Ireland again, came back, didn't concede a goal until the final, wasn't it? And then kicks the 45, plays well. Like,
and the goal that he conceded is one of the all-time great All-Ireland final. Like, the skill that Gainey has to not foul the ball in the moment under pressure from the Dubs, I think it was sensational. Yeah, and also, like, I had a chance over the last 24 hours to go back and look at the pass. Look at the wild eyes of Clifford. Yeah, you don't know where it's going, but he knows exactly where it's going. He's like, I can see him.
Well, it's the movement from Gainey was outrageous, because he shimmies and then points. Oh yeah, he's like to Clifford, I'm going this way, but I'm going back that way. So he goes like this to throw off the defender and then runs back. It was like Clifford happened to look up at the very moment Gainey was pointing, which was just perfect. Chef's kiss.
Hopefully the cameras and the angles start to emerge over the next few days of like proper high end,
breaking it down,
super slow mo. And what that does, I think, is it enhances the case of Cluxton, that it needed this moment of genius to beat them.
And his kickouts were impeccable as well. Dan Delaney is just after commenting on the YouTube, absolutely no case for Cluxton to be Footballer of the Year. Why? How? Like,
was he not man of the match?
Like, as in not officially, but should have been.
Yeah. Now, in retrospect, dust has settled. I thought Fitzsimons was. I've kind of looked back at stuff and thought he did play very well. I think he was definitely a nominee for man of the match, and I think it was an 8 out of 10 performance. And I think that some of the shooting is because he's in his head as well. Yeah. Whatever presence, or I don't know if there's conversations, whatever happens, like some of the radar is off. You have to give some of the credit to that. for Fitzsimons, and that's the win of the game. 3 more points, which you would have expected, wins the game. Like, so I don't know, the pinging of the ball, the way he pinged the ball under pressure, and the like, we were like, it's a 45. That's like no big deal, but like it did suck the life out of the stadium. From a Kerry perspective, like, we've seen this before, haven't we? Yeah, we have seen this a good bit before.
And also the first 45, like, there's not much is going to be said about it because it's the first score of the game. But like, both Dublin and Kerry were clearly nervous in those opening minutes. I think Howard hits a wayward shot, but before that, Seanie O'Shea drops the ball short. Both teams are nervous, and then Cluxton, obviously dead ball. Everyone's nerves are calmed from that point on, and then we have a game in our hands. So like, you can't just underestimate what the stress of a 45 in front of an 82,000 half Cedar Stadium on All Ireland final day. Do you know? Yeah.
Is there a shower Shane McGuigan
to be footballer of the year? I think if Derry had got to the final, there'd be more of a strong argument in favour. I
mean, bear in mind, I'm the points count double in the final, so it's very difficult to. Now, Bernard Brogan did win it.
Yeah, McGuigan was quiet against Cork in the quarter, which counts against him.
And he was outshone by Brendan Rodgers in that semi-final, wasn't he?
Rogers was the best.
Yeah, he did get decapitated, punched in the head, taken out from the side. He was, was he targeted?
Kept under wraps.
Is it fair to say he was targeted?
Well marshalled, yes.
Yeah, well marshalled, live by the sword, die by the sword. Anyway, look, give us your views. 087 9180 180 is the WhatsApp number. You can leave a comment in the YouTube stream, as many of you already are. You can tweet us at Off the Ball AM. The other culture war that's going on at the moment is the Dublinification of the rest of the country. That slow, steady, gelatinous creep of the suburbs, and stealing the. They're coming for you, Monaghan boy.
Makes me sick. Yeah, Carrick McCross in South Monaghan is turning into a commuter belt potentially. Yeah, a lot of Dublin people living in Carrick now.
You want to be careful about that.
That's where it all starts.
Burn the Dublin jerseys at the border.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. There should be searches. I don't agree with a border, generally speaking, but
in this instance, you're going to Dublin. For you, I will make an exception.
Searches would be just for other county jerseys, Dublin jerseys specifically.
So, what's the story here is that
Donaghmore Ashbourne, the club in Meath. So, of course, the Tailteann Cup final was on recently, and then, of course, the Dublin final at the weekend. And we were wondering, did they even show the Tailteann Cup final? Because the clip we're about to show you, and trigger warning for those affected by things that might make them gag this early in the morning. But this is in Meath, and this is a video of the Donaghmore Ashbourne clubhouse and bar during the All Ireland final on Sunday. Have a look.
For our listeners, explain what's happening.
Yeah, so it's basically
a sea of blue there.
An absolute sea of Dublin fans clapping, standing on their feet, supporting the Dubs.
A camera has panned, in fairness, from one side. So we're obviously, the TV is behind us, and a camera has panned, and on the right hand side is the bar, and on the left hand side is the windows that look out onto the pitch, to one of the training pitches.
Again, there you go.
I'm estimating casually a couple of hundred.
Russian Ministry of Propaganda watermark in there at all. It's definitely genuine.
No, and this is off it's an Instagram reel.
Yeah, it's the club's official social media.
No, it's the bar
in the club. In the club, okay, right.
Which is not technically the club, of course.
Right.
So the club didn't put this up, but the bar in the club, which you would suspect might be connected to them, and they're like, yeah, no problems. Now, we obviously talked about this yesterday. Tommy brought it up.
He did.
Maybe I brought it up, and Tommy refused to speak about it and then spoke about it. And I think people in Meath are concerned, they are concerned.
So they should be, yeah.
Now, we were speculating incorrectly, as it was, and we should not speculate. It was wrong of us to speculate about such an important matter. This is a very, very important matter, and we should not.
Let's clear the air, I think.
There's no fun in this. There's definitely no crack to be had in this, right?
No, Jesus,
this is a serious, serious matter. Apparently, the Tailteann Cup final was shown in the same place as the All Ireland final was shown, and so we were corrected by that by a concerned member, or
someone I think linked certainly to Ashbourne and to the club, I would imagine, as well. So they have sent us on 3 bullet points, and they felt, of course, compelled to point these things out. As you've just said, Jerry, he said Donaghmore Ashbourne GAA Club did show the Tailteann Cup final, and there was a huge push for tickets around the club. Their second point was, although there are lots of Dubs who play a great part in volunteering in Donaghmore Ashbourne, this is a very well cropped video to the turnout on the day.
So there was loads of Meath fans wearing Meath jerseys on the other side
Did I
of the
say
camera?
one Meath jersey?
I think it was a Newgrange situation where we only saw the sliver of Dublin.
Yeah. And the third point was also, I wouldn't be surprised if most of the Meath fans watch this one at home, as it's a stark reminder of where Dublin and Meath are in contrast to the 90s.
Oh, shots fired there.
Yes.
And look, is it wrong? I don't know. Does it matter? Explain to me if it does.
It does matter.
Well, you're from where you're from. Are they supposed to stop being Dubs because they've moved county? Like you lived in Dublin,
Yeah.
and stop being a Monaghan fan.
Well, no, I haven't.
Exactly.
Yes.
What's the difference?
Well, there aren't. The pub beside me in Dublin isn't putting on a watch party for Monaghan fans. The GAA Club.
Well, the All Ireland final is on in the local GAA club. Hardly a watch party. Now, we are told that sometimes buses do be organised to be going to the games in Croker from the club, and sometimes, I don't know, is the same effort going into getting the kids to support Meath? It's a hard one. Like, who do you want your kids to support if you're from a place?
The concern for me is not that the match was shown by Donaghmore Ashbourne. I understand it's All Ireland final day. I completely get that they're going to show the match on TV. The concern for me is, I would imagine, and I'm speaking on behalf of Meath people here, but I would like to think 90% of Meath fans wanted Kerry to win that match on Sunday. Let's be realistic. Dublin and Meath have had a traditional rivalry in Leinster. 90% of them wanted Kerry to win.
Can confirm it's a rock and a hard place for Kildare supporters. It was like, you know, come friendly bombs and fall, and it's the end of civilization, and we never find out who won. We'd be happy with that. We would have been happy.
That's because Jack O'Connor.
And the 98 team as well. It was a great day for Kildare.
Of course, yeah. Not tough at all. My issue is not around the game being shown. It's the fact that it's just a sea of Dublin jerseys. I would have expected Donaghmore Ashbourne are showing the match. Everyone's going to land down their Meath jerseys, supporting Kerry, similar colours as well.
Yeah.
And that would be the case. It was the fact that it was. I don't agree with the commenter saying it was a well cropped video. I mean, panned around enough.
I got a DM from somebody. Sickened me when I saw it. I'm a member of the club and a massive Meath fan. I actually tweeted it out for people to see, as the person who tweeted it didn't see a problem with it. No problem at all with the influx of Dubs to the club, as it's helping us grow and get better, but just do not be putting that video out there. It adds more fuel to the fire, as we get enough slagging as it is.
It's just because it's Meath in Dublin, isn't it? If a Thai GAA club were showing this game and there was a sea of Dublin jerseys, I'd be just as sick.
Well, we're in the south of the county. I don't think it's
true. Yeah, it's not an issue.
There are some Dubs who've moved down.
Or someone in Selbridge, say, or Maynooth, maybe.
I'd say there could be similar. There could be similar
Scenes
things
going on,
hiding in plain sight.
Yeah. So the concern, the concern is not with Donaghmore Ashbourne GAA Club showing the match. It's also not with the great Dublin people involved in the club and who live in Ashbourne now, because it's too expensive in Dublin, and look, it's still expensive in Ashbourne, but at least it's a little bit further out. It's more just general friendly concern that there were so many Dublin jerseys at a club where I would have liked to have seen a little bit of Meath support / Kerry support, given the rivalry. I did genuinely gag and half, sorry for people eating their breakfast, half feel like puking when I saw it first. So that is a fact.
Definitely not. No, this is not funny. It's too serious. It's
way too
not
serious.
a laugh.
What would be the analogy for you, Shane?
Well,
in terms of Monaghan, because I think if I found out that
if Monaghan Harps GAA Club put on the All Ireland final and it was,
if Monaghan Hearts put on the Six Nations and everybody arrived down in their England jerseys, I think it's similar enough.
Yes, or Cavan were in an All Ireland final and everyone landed in their Cavan jerseys, or their own jerseys,
and Rice jerseys.
Like that would cause me concern. It's a similar enough thing.
Michael says, all three of you are examples of this. It's a big factor to Dublin GAA success. A lot of rural Ireland moved to Dublin, so we were forced to move out to find a home.
That's fair. I get that.
Like the cuckoo bird.
Yeah.
We moved in.
You not drive from Ashbourne into Dublin for the day and go to your old local. Go into
the history of the Dublin, the early success of Dublin GAA was certainly apparently driven by a lot of coaches coming up and being, well, we're going to play football here, and getting good at it. So, but now you're reaping the rewards of it. You're like, no, screw you. We've got the football of the year. I don't care who it is. It's just one of ours. Do
people want to change the map and stretch the border of Dublin into around Ashbourne? Is that where we're headed here? Has the Pale just got bigger?
I don't think that'd be a very popular decision.
I don't think so.
Shane. I have a really good friend from Ashbourne, and I was like, oh, that's in Dublin, and we didn't speak for.
And are they a fervent Meath fan?
No, they don't care about GAA at all. So even on a purely geographical basis, it's a bone of contention for them.
See, I'd say now, if you said that to the lads sitting in the front row in their Dublin jerseys, they'd be like, yeah, we are a little enclave. We're Las Malvinas, except the other way around.
Yeah, like Donaghmore Ashbourne have some like Brian Menton was a Donaghmore Ashbourne player. They have some absolute Meath legends in that club.
Now it's actually closer to Croker than it is to Navan if you're organising buses.
The affinity.
I don't know. Maybe somebody from the club will come on and talk to us a bit about this, and I'm sure it must feel a little bit. I don't know. Does it feel normal when they're all playing together? You'd hope it does.
Yeah.
Shouldn't the kids be in Meath jerseys if they're being brought up there, says David Clark. My mum is Galway, dad is Westmeath, but I'm a Rosie and it's the only jersey I'd wear. Like, I feel that way. I feel like my kids are growing up in Dublin. They should be Dublin supporters. I know other members of the team who come from other counties, perhaps out west, are buying the jersey of the. I don't know. I mean,
but your kids will grow up.
Right and wrong.
They'll grow up Dublin fans, but they'll have a soft spot for Kildare. Like,
no, they won't. They'll try and.
No.
Well, no. You see, my dad was. I grew up in Monaghan, but my dad was from Galway.
But you never play each other.
As in,
you never. It doesn't matter.
Galway, yeah.
No.
Yeah. I always had a soft spot. I used to wear Galway jerseys. I was at the All-Ireland final last year.
But I have a soft spot for the Empire. Is that what you're saying?
Maybe. But I think you always have a soft spot for the county of one of your parents.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. But what's your priority?
Yeah. It's a tough one.
Now, I say this as an Antrim hurling fan and a Kildare football fan, so clearly the split personality thing is strong within all of us, and the hypocrisy, the rank hypocrisy of us.
Yeah, well, it's your kids can wear whatever, like as Nathan Murphy well knows, your kids can wear whatever jerseys that they want.
Yeah, that's who I was getting at there.
Yeah.
Michael says, exactly, my son plays for the local club in Carlow. This is where we live now. I have other friends from Dublin that moved out, and their kids play for the local team, so we'll spread the players out. It's true, and look, in the long run, Ashbourne will benefit from this, but will Meath benefit from it? I don't know. Will some of those kids decide that they want to play inter-county for Dublin if they get really good? And are Dublin taking some of those players from outside their county borders? I mean, are they? Is that happening? I think it might be. Surely not.
Have we blown this shit wide open?
Possibly. Now, the thing, right, so Ashbourne, Donaghmore Ashbourne's last Meath Senior Football Championship, they've won 3 in their history: 1927, 1928, 1942. So people of Ashbourne come together. Even if your parents are from Dublin and you're forced as a kid to wear Dublin jerseys, you're going to grow up playing for Donaghmore Ashbourne. That's why you're in the clubhouse at the weekend. So if you're watching this in 10-15 years, helping Donaghmore Ashbourne win a Meath Senior Championship, you have to play for Meath. If you're good enough, you play for Meath. Dublin aren't your county.
7:54. Here's what's coming up between now and 10 o'clock this morning. Chloe Morey is going to talk to us to preview the Camogie final on this Sunday. Andy Mitten's going to talk to us about Manchester United's tour of the United States, the ownership situation, and anything else you're having yourself. Julianne Russell is going to talk about the great career that Niamh Fahey has putting together. Is it over from an Ireland perspective? We shall see. Alan Quinlan, the World Cup is upon us. One World Cup is dead, the new one begins. And then Daniel Whiffen was on the show last night talking about his incredible breakthrough season as Ireland's best swimmer in the men's. We
started the conversation yesterday on in the office, or the day before in the office, about Dublin's win and how fervently Jack McCaffrey was celebrating. And it got us all thinking, where does this rank?
Stephen Doyle was power ranking them, wasn't he?
He was. So the nine since 2011.
Yeah. It's hard, isn't it, being a dub,
That's, I mean, it must be
Which
so
of
tough.
my 9 children are my favourite? Well, maybe you should, get the L snip there, Dublin.
It's not an easy one. I don't know, what do Dublin fans think? 2011 was obviously 16-year gap, massively important, and the most recent one, 2-year barren spell. And probably because it's historic, it's the 9th as well. I asked Sean Potts this yesterday when I was texting him, public in a course in Dublin, and his opinion was it almost rivals 2011. People in tears again, and it was excruciatingly dramatic last 10 minutes. If and probably when the older crew step away, they will do so at the very pinnacle. You rarely get that luxury in sport. So maybe this is second, or maybe joint first for some Dublin fans, I feel. Maybe there was one in the middle. 2015 was important, beating Kerry as well.
Does the quality of the final come into it? That's what I want to know.
Possibly, yeah.
Is it the worst quality in terms of overall football the final is, the more tense and exciting it becomes.
I think the proximity to disaster is what makes it great.
Yeah. So the replay ones have to be up there as well then.
Top of the morning to you is the Grand Mannion, and it's a picture of Paul Mannion at Smithfield. This was obviously from the other night when they were celebrating, and the comments are embargoed, and he's like, I came back for one last tour, right? That's basically what he says at one point. And then it's like, on the other hand, if everybody else decides to say, it's going to be very hard to say no. So I've gone from being like, oh, that's it now, they're not going to, it's great. I agree with the person who told me, sure, they won't even win Leinster next year. To now, oh my God, please just stop. It's enough. Congratulations, you've broken all the records. Go away now.
Yeah,
go away.
The drive for 10. What are they going to call it next year? They'll come up with something for it. Dan Delaney says 2017 versus Mayo seemed like a huge one too. Michael says this one is the sweetest, in my opinion. Been at all of them, even 95, and this feels better than 2011. Better than 2011.
Well, I can see that 2011 is like just this dam burst of, it's great, we've won All Ireland, we've no idea how good the team is. Now they've franked themselves as like, you've witnessed the greatest collection of footballers that have ever existed.
Yeah,
like the legend of so was it Paddy and Mikey Shee? Was there somebody? Did Jacko also have 8? But the legend of those Kerry footballers is the type of thing that has sustained Gaelic football's glamour for
it's 7, Jack.
half a century. And that's what this team are doing. They're injecting history and like showbiz at the same time into the game. And so I can see why, if you're a Dublin fan. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea what this is like. Again, I just have bitter jealousy.
It's because they all returned.
It's Magnificent Seven, Last Dance. It's like whatever bad pop culture analogy you want, you could apply it to this, and nobody can correct you because they wrote the bloody Hollywood ending. Like Cluxton, what? How did this happen?
Yeah, it seems like on a whim, doesn't it?
Did this happen? Yeah, you'd wonder.
I would argue an element of schadenfreude comes into it too. I certainly feel Dan Delaney's mentioned in the YouTube comments 2017 versus Mayo seemed like a huge one. That's the one that hurts the most for me.
That's the Young Goals.
Yeah,
the Young Goals was the draw.
The Young Goals was the Young Goals was the year before, and 2017 was the Keegan goal. They got way early on. Now
you have it as the Keegan goal. Is it Keegan throwing the
GPS? Is that 2017?
Is that 2017?
I think it might be as well. Yeah.
Let's just get this right.
Let's get this right. Yeah.
There's so many we had.
A way of searching this.
Search engine. Yes. What year was it?
No, that's the Clifford 4-4.
That's 2017. The GPS. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that was an unbelievable one.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
Like, Dublin fans, let us know, how do you rank them 1 to 9? For me, I can't see how 2011 can be beaten, but then again, for Dublin, it's a very personal thing. It's where you were, who you were with, how you watched the game as well, how you felt. No two Dublin fans are going to have the same order, 1 to 9, I'd imagine.
I like snowflakes.
Bang on. That's the first reference this morning. There could be some more coming. Certainly the comments are obviously always one of them.